Hi guys, this is Punavar and welcome back to my channel. So, what is microservices architecture? So, everyone talks about the microservices like they are magic, they can do whatever we want it is. It is scalable, cloud native, or future proof. This type of words everyone is being used. So, in this video, we will ignore these buzzwords and explain the microservices in a simple and a practical term. So let's get started. So why microservices sounds confusing? So most of the explanation use the words like that is they are scalable, loosely coupled, cloud native, and distributed. So these type of words they make some confusion in the mind. So these terms, I mean, definitely they are impressive, but don't explain how the system actually works. So let's get started with the real world problem, then that why microservices are needed and why these bigger words are being used. So we will start with the traditional monolith application. So, first I will explain that why microservices are needed. So, in order to understand why microservices are needed, we need to know about what the microlith application is and why we need a microservice. So, before microservices, applications were built as a monolith, mean everything was built in a large solution. I would say all the features live inside of one large code base. So everything is packed in a one code base and there was no segregation. So there was one deployment pipeline and usually a one database. So so that was a problem that everything was packed in a one solution. Then I will explain that why monolith application was not suitable for the application and what is the use of microservices. So imagine we have a e-commerce application, assuming in e-commerce application there are multiple modules, I would say, the client information, the order information, the product information, these type of stuff. So, for example, we have user login, we have product catalog, we have orders, payments, and shippings. So, all are implemented inside of one application. So, any change made in one of the area can impact the other areas as well. So, that is what the monolith application was previously used. So, what actually the problem is. So as a system grows, the problem appears. For example, in a shorter system or smaller system, there is no problem. So if a system grows, a small change required the redeployment of the entire application. For example, we wanted to do something in the payment, so definitely a whole application need to be pushed. A single bug in an application that destroy all the areas. That can also happen to multiple teams struggle to work in a parallel because they have the same code base, so they need to be dependent on the other resources as, and the scaling one features means scaling everything. So that was the problem the monolith application was having. Now, the question is, if those are the problems, so what is the solution? So the solution is microservices. So microservices are the architectural approach where a large application is broken into a smaller independent services. As I mentioned here, so account service, that is a separate service and a separate DB as well. And the inventory service, which has the product categories, these type of thing, it has a different database, no need, no connection with the account service. In the same manner, the shipping service, the payment service, these are all the separate services which are being connected with the different database. So each service focus on a single business capability. The inventory system no need to work with the account service, or account service has nothing to do with the shipment service. So they are working independently and can be deployed and developed independently. So if a team working on the account services, they are not dependent on the inventory services in the same manner the shipment services. So three teams can work on the three different areas. So the same application using Microsoft, instead of a one big system, we now have multiple services. So a user service handles the authentication, as I mentioned. An order service manage only the orders. It didn't do anything with the authentication. A payment service will only work for payment, nothing else would be needed. And in the same manner, a notification service sends only the email or messages, it doesn't need to do anything. So the same application using the microservices. So what independence really mean? So each microservice mean why they are independent. So each microservices has its own code base and the deployment, and the team can deploy changes without coordinating with everyone because they have the different services or different IAS being configured, for example. So there is no need to have any coordination with the other teams. If one service fails, it means one is failed, the whole application will continue work. The isolation is the core strength of the microservices. So each service has their own, I would say, ground. Then there is nothing that it can impact the others. So that is what the independency is. So how the question comes, if monolith application wanted to communicate with each other, then how the microservices will communicate to each other. So microservices do not share database. They are the different databases. They communicate through APIs, event or messages. We can use the event PubSub. We can use the RabbitMQ. We can use services, your services service bus to communicate with each other. So instead of reading the data directly, services request the information. So once the request is completed, the data would be there. They enforce the clear boundaries. They don't interact with the other boundaries. So this is how they communicate with each other. So now comes with a real world analogy. We will take a restaurant application as a example, for example. So as I mentioned in the screens, you can see that these are the restaurant areas, I would say, food being prepared separately, and the food is cooked separately, served separately, and the washing area is separate, and then the other area. So every area has their own boundaries, or they are working independently. There is nothing that they are being coordinated, but they are linked, but they are not directly linked. Definitely, once the food would be prepared, then definitely it will send a message to the other area, and the other area, once it is prepared, then it will go to the service stations, I would say. So in the same manner, they are sending a message to each other. So the kitchen prepare the food, the cashier, assuming the cashier only handles the payment, the delivery manager only manage the shipment. So each role work independently, just like a microservices. So benefits are microservice helps team move faster. There is nothing that they are waiting for each other. Deployments are smaller and the safer. Only the required services are need to be scaled. We do If we wanted to integrate multiple payment gateways, then no need to do anything with the authentication or with the other services. They improve the team productivity and no, not the magic performance. So definitely, whatever we wanted to do, we only need to do a work on the particular service. So important realistic check. There are some checks that we also need to be aware of before implementing it. Microservices are not free. Why not free? I will explain it. They increase the flexibility, but also increase the complexity. Definitely, we have to have multiple services, multiple code bases, and multiple team to work on. You trade simple code base for operational changes. Definitely, a simple code base for every other services, they have to have their own code base on which they will work on. The trade-off must be the intentional that we also need to be aware of. So these are the important reality check we need to know about implementing. And the dark side as well, the more services mean more server or infrastructure is needed. If we have multiple services to work on, definitely we have to have all those servers or the services needed for that purpose. Monitoring, logging, and the tracing becomes essential. For every service need to have the monitoring, logging, auditing, everything need to be handled separately. Network failure are also a real problem, and debugging issue takes more effort. So these are also the dark sides. So what is the honest statement? So microservices turn simple code problem into a distributed or a system in which it has been distributed to the other areas or system problems. So this is powerful, but dangerous if misunderstood. Mean where we need to use and why we need to use that I will explain, and then you will come to know that why I'm saying it is powerful but dangerous if misunderstood. Then when you should use the microservices. So microservices make sense when the system is bigger, large. Multiple team need to work parallelly. Frequent deployments are needed or different parts need a different scaling. So in those areas or in those, I would say, circumstances, you need to use the microservices. Otherwise, you don't need to use the microservices. So when should you not? Why microservices? When you have a small team, the product is in early stage, the system is simple, or DevOps maturity is low. I mean, definitely we have to have CI/CD implemented. Pipeline should be there because continuous integration or development should be there. So if the system is small, don't think about microservices. So the final takeaway is microservices are not magic. They are the strength choose or strategic choice. I mean, wherever it is needed we need to use at that time, otherwise we don't need to use it. They provide the flexibility at the cost of complexity. Definitely it will be complex, but they have the flexibility. So understanding this trait of makes a good architect. Definitely they have the dark side, they have the plus and minus, so we definitely need to choose it wisely. So what is next? If you want a practical guide on the choosing between monolithic and microservice on the real projects, let me know. Definitely I will give you some more detail on the microservice. So in my coming videos, definitely I'm also giving you some more examples as well as the multiple areas I'm going to touch. So thank you so much, guys.